I'm recording this during the COVID-19 pandemic, vlogging a typical day here in Northern California while under quarantine. I wake up around 7 a.m. and I don't wash my face in the morning. I gently pat on squalane and hyaluronic acid and I'm done. Also, oh boy, I have packed on 15 pounds since February of this year. Isn't that crazy? That's right, I gained 15 pounds while sheltering in place these last 2 months. It does show me how much more active I normally am when I'm out and about. First order of business, of course, is coffee. I need my coffee. I'm up about 3 hours before my husband, James, so at this time the house is quiet. While my coffee is brewing, I take a few moments of silence, facing eastward, looking out into the horizon, and I really like to look at the sun while I do some early morning stretches. I burn a stick of sandalwood incense, and as I do this, I'm whispering prayers, different prayers depending on what's going on. I visualize those prayers being infused with the smoke and sent heavenward. I do a daily card draw with my tarot deck, and this is almost akin to checking the Weather Channel or meteorology report every day, Since I do a lot of spirit work, to me, this is important. I gotta know what the energy present around me is like that day to help me account for any plans I've got. Oh, that beeping means my coffee is done. I have my first of about 3 cups of coffee for the day with creamer, no sugar, and get to making breakfast. By the way, this is also going to be a what I eat in a day vlog, and at the end, I'll count up my caloric intake, nutrition, and macros. Today for breakfast, I made myself snow pea leaf with a fried egg. From a traditional Chinese medicine standpoint, both of these are neutral foods and a great way to open the digestive system during breakfast time. Snow pea leaf is also considered an immune system booster. Now it's time to get to work, well, quarantine style. So I take my cup of coffee and head up the stairs to my home office. Actually, everyone at the day job firm I work at got furloughed through the pandemic, and the economic crisis means a lot of California folks have been out of their normal jobs during these times. It just goes to show in this century, if you're not a .com and raking the bulk of your business on the internet, it's easy to get screwed. A good tip for those with e-commerce side hustles, yeah? As most of you watching this know, in addition to my normal full-time day job as a lawyer, I also work as a tarot reader, astrologer. I'm a published author, write books, and do what I love. What's kept me really busy through the COVID-19 pandemic quarantine has been my side business. Okay, fast forward 2 to 3 hours, I head back down the stairs. By the way, keeping this authentic, am I right? No makeup, didn't brush my hair, and I'm literally wearing my pajamas the whole day. After several hours of working at my computer, I try to get a little exercise or yoga in, which is why you'll have seen that purple yoga mat sprawled out on my living room floor. I'm not going to show you my workout routine because I'm probably doing it wrong anyway, and that's just even sillier than the silliness of recording this kind of vlog. One thing that has helped maintain a state of calm is this goofy little practice of infusing my gratitude into a quartz crystal and leaving it as an offering to divinity. Holding the crystal in my palm, I visualize gratitude converted into chi, life force, or energy, transfer it into the crystal, and place it at the feet of a consecrated representation I have of the face and name of divinity I hold dear. To me, this is like an offering to the gods. Get some more work at the writing desk done, and then I need a change of scenery. So I head out to our backyard and spend some time with our trees and plants. Confession time. I do have a bit of an animistic philosophy toward life, and honestly, I think anyone, literally anyone, no matter your religion, if you spend quality time with plants, it's almost inevitable that you realize they definitely have personalities, and maybe it's anthropomorphizing them, but there's something more going on for sure. Again, probably not a thing, but in my crazy mind it is. If I talk to my trees, they grow better. They're more willing to let me harvest their fruits. It's almost like a bargained for exchange. We, as in the trees and me, mutually take care of each other. Really, also, I should be getting some vitamin D via sunlight, yeah? Vitamin D for strength and longevity. You heard that before, right? By the way, in March and early April, I went through a bit of a depression, didn't come out here at all, and it really was only after I forced myself to come back out here that I felt like the healing began. As I'm going back inside, I ring the wind chimes because to me this is playing a song, music in tribute to the nature spirits. It's a little way of honoring their presence. Okay, James is going to be up soon, so now I've got to make lunch for the both of us. Today I'm sautéing some baby spinach, chopping up and grilling onions, mushrooms with fresh avocado to make a croissant sandwich with some veggie chips on the side. I didn't make the croissants or the veggie chips, so those are from Costco. These past few months in quarantine, we literally do not leave our home except for groceries, and we only go grocery shopping once every 10 to 12 days. I'm having my lunch with some sangria. By the way, I took James's plate of lunch upstairs to his home office for him because now he has started his work day. He doesn't want to be filmed because, man hasn't shaved, gotten a haircut, and has packed on some extra pounds the way I have, but he's more self-conscious than I am, apparently. And here's a witchy little something I do on occasion. I leave out a cut onion. It's a folk magic thing. In traditional Eastern witchcraft, this wards off the negative spirits that cause sickness. Plus, cut this way, the onion kind of looks like an evil eye too, doesn't it? Those Mediterranean and West Asian talismans for warding off evil. After lunch, to digest, I don't want to do work where the process is output. I want to engage in a process that is input, like reading. I'm making my way through Tarot and the Gates of Light, a Kabbalistic path to liberation by Mark Horn. And since Passover, I've been following the 49-day Kabbalistic practice of counting the Omer, but approaching it in kind of a novel, modern, and secular way, following Horn's book. I journal, do the things. We'll get to that after sundown. But for now, I'm reading, studying, learning, input, not output. Okay, back up the stairs I go to my home office. It's now the afternoon and I have to get a couple more hours of work in. Again, in these atypical times when so many of us are furloughed or altogether unemployed, it's important to make sure I proactively find work to do. I've amped up my home business in the meantime and maybe did too good a job amping it up. It's been pretty busy here, and from what I've heard among my online business friends, it's been the same for all of them too. So yeah, like I said, we need to be more self-reliant now in these crazy economic times. We have to have backup plans, bigger nest eggs saved for the future, or heck, for a rainy day. And we need to diversify our assets for sure. Fast forward, late afternoon. Yeah, I do light a lot of incense because this home is my temple. I'm heading out onto our upper level solarium for a little more sun. Here you see some herb bundles and red dates or Chinese jujubes I'm sun drying. Yeah, witchy and traditional Chinese medicine stuff. The view of Northern California's iconic landscape here is spectacular. Pretty obvious, when I was working full-time and not in quarantine, I never had time to do this. I don't know how it's been for you, but for me, time has really just melted, slowed down so much, like I'm living in a different dimension, because it's that big of a contrast from what I had gotten so used to, the busy life, go. But I'm trying to see the good, and the good here is with time having slowed down, at least in perception, I can experience a far deeper understanding of space. This dream catcher I'm showing you was a gift from a good friend who is now no longer with us. I truly believe this dream catcher is magical and all the more sentimental because of its personal history. I'm now heading down to the lower level of our home. The chairlift you see was installed for my disabled mother-in-law so that our house can be accessible to her. As for our really messy and cluttered home gym, yeah, sorry about that. Didn't have any chance to tidy it up before filming this footage. I gained 15 pounds in a matter of 2 months because I wasn't getting any physical activity in. So starting May, I forced myself to come down here for at minimum half an hour to just get a little something in, any kind of physical movement, you know? Up the stairs I go, check in with the hubby James, who doesn't want to be filmed because self-conscious. He does a lot of the admin work for my home business, and if you've purchased a reading or online course from me, or even just tried to email to contact me, you'll know he handles it all. Some of you know I'm working on a novel, so every day I dedicate time to work on that novel. Well, my novel is complete, so right now I'm working through the comments from beta readers and making huge changes to my book. Structural, plot, dialogue, scene, big changes to hammer it out until this manuscript is something less shitty. Now for a little meditation, a routine that this quarantine period has allowed me to maintain. Most people who meditate do it either first thing in the morning or last thing before bed or both, but for me, I don't know. I like doing this between the hours of 5 and 7 p.m., or in Chinese metaphysics, water hours, a period of the day when it's of utmost importance, according to our human body clock, for our mind and body to be calm. Meditation can be this incredible, almost out-of-body, expansive experience, so it can help to keep from feeling shut in, even while literally and by law you are shut in. So now you see me stretching and returning my spirit senses back into my physical body, reintegrating. Hey, witchy spiritual folks watching this, I'd love to hear from you. Have you been keeping up a meditation practice during this quarantine? If yes, what's your meditation practice like? After that, I like some afternoon tea. Well, at this point, almost evening, but not yet sunset. This time of the year, sundown doesn't happen until 8 o'clock p.m. This is green tea, homegrown from my family farm in Miaoli, Taiwan. It's also snack time, and I'm enjoying some pre-packaged processed lao po bing. I have no idea what that is in English. It's a Taiwanese sweet treat I've loved since childhood. Right now, I'm also reading Path of Compassion, Stories from the Buddha's Life by Thich Nhat Hanh, who my cousin went to see in France and converted to Buddhism by him, got her Buddhist name from him, and how this book got into my hands is quite a karmic story. It was a gift in exchange for a tarot reading I did for the editor of this particular book, who is Buddhist, who then, by this total fluke, turned out to be a guy my cousin dated for a while. Total synchronicity. Now it's time to prep dinner while James is still upstairs in his office space working. Where we live right now, there's a shortage on meat, especially beef. I've been rationing the amount James eats, freezing much of it to really make the rations stretch. And by the way, does anyone else do this? Is this even a thing? I coat and marinate meat I plan on setting aside for a while with hard liquor like vodka. I don't even know why I do it. If I should, I don't know, an intuitive act. I'm prepping the beef, which I'll be cooking in the pressure cooker. Gotta brown that butter real nice and brown first, right? Of course. Brown the onions, sear the meat, prep my sauce, which I'm mixing in the chili garlic sauce container because I was down to the last of it. So this is a kitchen trick to really get every last drop of it and not waste anything. For anyone curious, this is chili pepper garlic hot sauce, hoisin sauce, black vinegar, which by the way is also an immune system booster and in traditional folk witchcraft, used to ward off evil, honey from my aunt's farm in Central Valley, and dark soy sauce, topped off with homemade chicken broth. There's a glass of red wine in there as well, and as I pour it in, I am reciting a blessing. Kitchen witch, baby. Now I'm prepping some fresh organic jielan. I think that's Chinese kale. Jielan helps to, we say 补血, like it helps with your blood circulation, helps promote healthy skin, healthy brain, and increases your vitality. Oh, and for carbs, baked potatoes. I don't know which vice you've been embracing during quarantine, but mine is gluttony. Is it just me, or have you noticed the stronger temptation these days toward the vices? Anyway, here I'm embracing snack time. Pre-packaged Nutella crepes from Costco. They're phenomenal. While the beef is stewing in the pressure cooker, greens washed and ready to go, and my potatoes baking in the oven, I get more work done. I'm always invariably working on a book, writing a book, whether that is fiction or nonfiction. Life of a writer and all. Type, type, type. By the way, all of this footage is with natural light. No ring light, none of that nonsense. And dinner is ready to be served. That beef is definitely juicy, moist, and fork tender. You'll also notice there are two different cuts of meat in there. One is to be eaten pot roast style, and the other James is going to shred. And now you see him shredding that chunk with forks because that's just how he likes it. Whereas me, I like fattier chunks, and I like them in cubed pieces. For those native Chinese, yeah, I'm cooking my jielan in a different way. I dice it up rather than keeping them in full stalks because it cooks faster this way and time is of the essence for your girl. I use the broth from the beef stew to cook the jielan, or Chinese kale. Shh, don't tell him this, but I snuck in some footage of James. Yeah, he basically wears that all day and that has been his official uniform during quarantine. Can you tell I secretly wish I had a cooking channel? Anyway, this is how I eat my meat, potatoes and veggies. I cut open my baked potato, lay on some of that dark leafy green, drizzle the broth, and I don't actually eat a whole lot of red meat. James is the one who eats most of it. Final food tally for the day, 2,000 calorie diet, a little under on my potassium today, a little under on my iron, but way over on all the vitamins and essential minerals. And now it's sundown. Blessed are you, Holy One of many names and many faces, who has sanctified us. Today, day of recording, is 31 days, which is 4 weeks and 3 days of the Omer. Again, atypical, but now typical because quarantine and sheltering in place and just as a way to navigate all of what is going on in our world right now. This is my time for personal ritual, and what I do on a given day is keyed to the planetary spirits. Prayer, and most important of all, communicating with Holy Spirit, which I happen to do with the cards I created, illustrated, cast, and anointed with holy oil myself, the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. And it's through the language of these signs and symbols that I, converse with divinity. What exactly that means or implies, that's a matter of personal gnosis. I receive from the sacred flame, which is what you see going on here. Making a concerted effort to maintain such a daily practice through our current global crisis is, I dare say, a requirement if there is any aspect of the priestess in you. It's acknowledging, inviting, and keeping close ties to divinity so that the holy is ever present in our community, our world, and let me get light and fluffy here, our hearts, so that no matter how much, conflict and tension is being generated around us right now by the powers that may be, we're doing what we can personally to neutralize that conflict and tension. Workaholic James is still at work. Actually, he's a total night owl. I wake up 3 to 4 hours before he does, but he goes to sleep 3 to 4 hours after me. I get a little more work in too. If I was writing during the day, then after sundown in the late evening hours, I review, revise, and edit. Although furloughed and put on the sidelines in my legal profession, I still do a lot of pro bono legal work, and that usually keeps me up late. Okay, this insert is from a different day, but I wanted to include it anyway. Earlier in the afternoon, I went on video chat with my entire family. My dad's roaming around in the back behind Mom. You'll see clips of my 2 younger sisters as well. We're all in totally different time zones here in the US. By the way, first thing Mom says to me, "Wow, you sure put on a lot of weight." From my family, it's been really interesting to hear how the coronavirus has affected New York City and Houston, and then almost rural, small town, upstate New York compared to what's going on in the San Francisco Bay Area. Funny enough, you can see my youngest sister wiping down her groceries with disinfectant wipes. The middle sister works in the restaurant industry and has been keeping us up to date on the really precarious circumstances of a huge swath of our country. And Mom, as usual, is telling us to behave, be good, stay indoors. I shower at night to wash away the day and enter sleep cleansed. There's this little self-care thing I love, which is the back massager you see propped up on my bed. That relaxes all my muscles. And then I'm done for the day, ready tomorrow for another cycle of life during pandemic times. Good night.